Not everybody's a designer. People use design tools.
But I think you need to understand a lot of these things before you say I'd want to do maybe UI, UX, brand identity, or even move further to motion, or what sets them apart.
You can learn the skill and then become a designer. Come on, can't just go to Pinterest and then pick someone's design. How would you feel? Like, if you do that, how would you feel?
It's designed for everyone. Well, on today's episode of BrandUp, we'll discuss if design is for a selected few or an innate thing for each and every one of us. Join us as we discuss on the subject, is everyone a designer? Who do you think a designer is?
I think a designer is a problem solver. Someone who finds a problem or gets a problem and then uses the resources, their creativity essentially, to solve said problems. That's my main idea when talk about who a designer is essentially. What do you think?
Personally, I would say a designer is somebody that has gone through the procedure or the process of acquiring knowledge and applying it. You happen to be someone that does voiceover acting, right? You happen to do also photography and stuff, and you're also a designer, but you didn't really go through the process of learning voice acting, or you didn't go through the voice acting school and photography, but you tend to call yourself all these professions. Why is that so?
I think that it's not for the space of designers. I think we consider ourselves creatives, and oftentimes than not, creatives do not necessarily need to go through the school process to get or become good at what they do. So it's a very tricky thing to like juggle or maneuver. So you have to be very particular about it. But I also think that being able to see a solution in a problem that has been presented to you is what is very much important. I think that is where the fine balance between being a designer and being an artist comes into play.
And you, James, too, you're also a strategist and a growth person at Sculptor, but you also design. And sometimes you call yourself a graphic designer, I guess. Or you don't even call yourself...
I'm made in.
Okay.
The fact that I know how to do, I like nice things. I'm able to do nice things. Bible strategy. So you tell me this, I don't think I'm a designer. Before we started this conversation, you were mentioning something on that guy. I didn't go to the school.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but nevertheless, yes, I think a designer... Yes, I think everybody's a designer, right? If you're able to put one or two and make it aesthetically pleasing to solve a problem, I think you're a designer. So problem solving is an end game. Using visuals, using nice things. Fair.
So me, I'd say I tend to look at design or being a designer from a more professional lens, in the sense that there are different categorization of designers. You understand? A water in a bottle is called a bottle of water. A bottle of water. Water in a glass is called a glass of water. Having a form to it is what qualifies you to be the designer. But the word design on its own is very vague. True that people are able to easily call themselves designers or I design. Understand? So it brings me to the question, what does it really mean to be a designer in today's world?
Do you understand? I think beyond Photoshop, Illustrator, Cinema 4D, and any other thing, right? I think if you're able to imagine, you're a designer. The introduction of Midjourney and the other AI tools, realize you don't need to move things around, cursor, shapes, and things around. All you need to do is pour out whatever you imagine in keywords and say, hey, could use this for me. So I think quote on quote, if I was able to imagine a designer. Nevertheless, yes, where your point where you were talking about having professional designers, yes, I think I'll do the groupings into being a professional and being an amateur. An amateur is, yes, I can use Canva, do a cover photo for my startup, maybe beauty, makeup store, because I can't afford a designer probably at that very time. Yes, I think it's cool once you're able to put that together. Because you go to certain places, you know certain people, even in schools, right? They teach a lot of verbal tools, speak to certain designers, quote unquote. They can navigate their ways through everything, but the outcomes are usually very terrible.
That's actually fine. What would you really say it has to be
I disagree that like everybody is a designer, mainly because I feel like the bar is set very low when it comes to who is classified as a designer, and that is where I have a problem with, because not everybody is a designer. People use design tools. That is fine. They can use design tools to achieve set results or certain outcomes. But other than that, the ability to use these tools, apply your creativity, experience, and wisdom to it, that is what sets you apart from Kofi or Amma somewhere who picks up Canva and starts designing. That is not a designer. I mean, they have their problems that they are trying to solve, but they are not essentially designers. You wouldn't go to them and pay them that, oh, take this because you're a designer. I'm paying you $2,000 or something for a design. No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, I gave two scenarios. You have the professional, you have the amateur.
I know someone who is an experienced amateur, right, a designer.
If an experienced, they probably move into the into the professional speed.
They are an experienced amateur. They are good. So that person, I can classify them as designers because they know the details, or they know like the intricacies when it comes to design, what works and what doesn't work. I feel like most of the time the people that go onto Canva to apply certain things, they don't know the reason behind certain choices that you make in design. So that is my problem when it comes to like, oh, everybody is a designer. Not everybody is a designer. People use design tools, but they are not designers.
Okay, I get it. So looking at then how design used to be and how designers now, would you say that there has been an evolution in the space of design?
Yes. I mean, we've had multiple movements when it comes to design, from predating like our time, like centuries back. Like there are a lot of design movements that have come, and I think right now there are a few that are also developing, and I think design has changed over time. There are a few, like recently there's this movement that came around, like the bento grids that people use to present design work or applications. It's interesting to look at. I mean, years from now, people would look back on it and be like, oh, this was a design movement using bento grids to present brand design, brand applications, logo designs, and all of that. I think over time, design has evolved from being just, would I say, fancy stuff to something that can be used to solve problems also. So I think the design has really evolved over time.
I'm still sticking to everybody being a designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take you way back to the days of the primitive days where people had to go to war, where they had to draw compasses. Even the what's the name? The one that does the
Smiths,
the blacksmith, right? You realize that the tools they are using are being shaped for purpose, and it has an aesthetic look as well, right? Yeah, I'll start qualifying those people as designers from the very word go, because they understood you need to cut or break rocks, right? How are we going to break that? We need a tool. Who designed that tool, right?
I understand what you mean. I get where you're coming from, but then you need to know that these people who design these tools know why these tools are the way they are. They know why this tool was cut in this angle for it to work for this particular use case. You get it?
Okay.
So you need to understand that. Let's say I didn't know anything about design and I just jumped into Canva right now that I want to create a poster. I have seen a poster somewhere. Subconsciously, it's in my mind. And then I create something similar to it. I don't know why they made these decisions to get to the final result. I just think it's cool and it's nice, so it works.
But if understanding the whys for design, and that's why you'd call someone a designer, then cool.
I think people
Understanding why things happen or how they happen.
understanding why this is used in this way and why it works, okay, is what would basically set you apart from someone who just uses design tools.
So it's actually interesting. Yeah, bringing that to light. So is it fair to say anyone can be a designer, or is ascribed or restricted to a selected few with the skill?
To quote my favorite characters from Ratatouille, it said, a designer can come from anywhere, but not everyone can be a good designer. You get it? Yes. A designer can come from anywhere, but not everybody can be a good designer. Everyone can pick up a design tool, can pick up Canva, can pick up Illustrator, can pick up InDesign, Photoshop, and then start building something. But in order to get to certain levels, you need to understand the basics, and then understand what works and what doesn't work. I think it also comes to the choice, the option of like taste. I have an article that talks about it. It talks about tastes and then the skill. You need to find a point where your taste, your desire for quality aesthetic design meets your skill. So that is the fine balance between someone who is a designer and someone who is not. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of would agree, but you said there's a bad designer and a good designer. That's to me is half glass full or half glass empty. But back to the revolution of design, I think yes, from those times to now, where I think for a very long while we've had tools being like the main the ways to project designs, right? But I realized that with looking at now and in the future, especially with a big focus on AI, I'm actually speculating that we could have AI designers who probably what their main roles are is to be typing in or putting in the right keywords to come up with the right images, the right prompts for the right images, or the kinds of shapes and things or visuals would want for the specific problem you are solving. So yeah, AI moved from the manual that is sketching with a pencil, paper, maybe even before it could have been on stones and stuff like that, to the Photoshops, the Illustrator, the InDesign, and now to the Midjourneys and what we have, the other ones. And there are a lot of them. A lot of them are evolving, and I think it's still new, so we are still testing the market. Canva probably before could be a tool for amateur, somebody who has no idea, who's curious what designs are about. But as with their add-on feature like the AI tools, the brand development tools, it actually kind of simplifies or help designers upgrade their design. But to be honest, I don't know how to use it.
Even with the thing about AI, right? You see, sometimes you go to Instagram and you see like very, very amazing works, and you're like, this is like very crazy, but and when you look at it, you start to think to yourself, like, how was this person able to imagine or think about something like this? And yes, AI makes your work very easy for you, but if you don't have that power of imagination, you might not really be able to input the prompt to get what you want or the desired image you're looking for.
Speaking on the fact that design isn't a skill or something meant for everybody, I think I agree, but also disagree, because I think everyone can just get into design. It's an open space where you can, I think, unlike back in the day where it's very difficult to jump on YouTube and find tutorials and videos to use for to learn Photoshop or something. Right now, there are lots of tutorials online that can help you to kickstart your design career. Like today, in the next 3 months, you can be designing for a client. So it's not niched, or it's not classified for people with a particular skill. You can get up and then pick Midjourney or DALL-E and then start generating something. But then you also need to understand that there are things that you need to find out, things that you need to understand before anybody can bring you money that will design this for me. You need to know, why are you even doing all of this? You get it? You need to know why you are even designing in the first place. You need to know the reason why certain things are being done. Yes, you might have the taste for design, you might have the love for design, but once you know the details, like we talk about design principles, you need to know all of these things. You need to understand why they work and where to put them. That is what helps you to become, I say, better. So it's not marginalized for people with just a skill. You can learn the skill and then become a designer. It's not a gift that has been sent for anybody can.
Yeah. So back to you see earlier on I mentioned a bottle of water and a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
So back to that, we can categorize designers, right?
Yes.
And if you are to categorize designers, what's the disparity or what sets them apart?
When you talk about categorization, do you mean disciplines? Oh, yes. There are multiple disciplines for design. You need to, much like every profession or occupation in the world, there are a lot of disciplines when it comes to design. We have the editorial designers, we have brand designers, we have marketing designers, we have product designers. There are a bunch of them. So yes, we have categorizations, but I don't know. You guys have been in the industry more than I have, so I'm fairly new,
To be honest with you, I think you should understand a lot of things too before you niche, right? Because you can't design in isolation. Let's even say you are a product designer, right? You still need to understand how brands work, how what kind of emotions your brand is invoking in terms of colors, right? In terms of using your visual tools or your stylescape from your logo, how are you going to replicate that on your packaging design? How are you even going to? So I think you need to understand a lot of these things before you say, I'd want to do maybe UI UX, or I'd want to do just brand identity, or I want to stick to, or even move further to motion, right?
So I think, not to cut you off, but with what you are saying, I can tell you that not everyone is a designer.
Would have the argument. And we will have a full episode today.
Everyone is a designer, because you just said that you need to understand and know why this works. You get it? So then, everyone is a designer.
So this is me talking. We'll just be talking in the second category, in the second phase. That is being a professional designer.
Fair.
Back to the categorization. That's earlier on said. I think we have, in the future, we'll be having, what do you use? Prompt designers, AI prompt designers. Yeah. We'd have mid-journey designers. We'd even have portfolio designers.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is to prepare portfolios for design.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think with the segregations, you can go. It can go as far as wide as possible, depending on what exactly you need at a certain point in time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you have a lot of people saying I'm this, I'm that. But I'm sure in earlier times, a designer is a designer, a graphic designer is a graphic designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we had to split. So being a graphic designer, learn every tool. If you want to this because you're finding purpose and market for it, yes, I'm a brand identity designer, or I'm learning too many things beyond saying a logo has to have a home.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I also think that thing is, I find some way.
Whereas, I mean, I think maybe there's not a place to discuss that, but I don't think that, yes, it's not necessary for a logo to have a meaning, but then it also needs to, I keep saying this whole conversation, you need to know why what works. So, like what you just said, logos having a meaning. If the meaning works for the brand, great. If it's just a representation of the brand, great. So you need to know why what this works.
So with the intervention of AI and AI tools and resources and stuff. How do you think the democratization of these tools has made people or everyone in designer?
I think like tools like Canva,
Sora, the biggest one in the scene, right?
Sora, it's looking very scary. They are coming for all the videographers' jobs, trust me. But don't worry, you are safe for like the next couple of years. Trust me, you are safe. You don't worry. Not yet, but it looks really scary because comparing it to back in the day, if you've seen the Will Smith eating spaghetti video, compare that to what we see now, and it's looking very, very scary. And that is out there, and it's quote unquote somewhat free because it's not that expensive to just get on and then start building or start creating or prompting videos, images, and all of that. So design tools being accessible to everybody, I think it's good. It's helpful to some designers and also helpful to people who can't access design. Like people who don't have, the means to, to get good design. They can just pick up these tools and then start using them. That is what I think it's a good thing that design tools are out there for people to use. It is also good for designers because then it makes your work easy. Personally, I use Canva for my clients because, like for instance, social media templates, if they don't have the resources to pay for a retainer, we can set up the Canva platform for you where you can make your edits, and it's super easy. It's not as complex as Illustrator. Just put in your text, change the image, and you're good to go. So it's a very good thing. It's good for the environment, you know. It's good for global warming and shit.
Because I think it helps separate the chaff from the real deal, right? Because this is it before somebody brings you something terrible and feels I'm supposed to accept it, right? And charges a meager amounts of money. So it kind of made the whole, or like the whole people out of the design space feel design is nothing, because everybody's charging. Like the people I've been in touch with are charging X amount. She wants to charge 5,000 X the amount. But with the people who would be paying for this X amount, they kind of find it easy that, oh, I can actually do this myself using Canva. I don't need the person charging X. Right? And you know, when you have a lot of people having knowledge in a certain area, it's easier to say, okay, yeah, you've built on this very level, let's upgrade you to level 8. Then we can have a conversation. But where they have zero information, you don't have to come and teach them what it is. Right? So now they understand that you paying them X. Now I can do the X myself. I need to scale. I need you, the real you, to help me scale. So yeah, I think it does help us. It helps us. It's helping us. If we, in as much as we might not see it, I kind of find the people who I kind of really see the child falling down and cry.
For me, I would say it's actually increasing the level of entrepreneurship in the scene right now. Because right now, I think we can just go to Logo Maker and take Wix. And even with people into drop shipping, people that do e-commerce, like right now, they don't really go to professionals to get their work done for them. Now people are taking things into their own hands than before, where you have to consult people that have knowledge in their given skill set or field. You understand? As much as it's increasing people in entrepreneurship, taking projects into your own hands, it's also beginning to devalue the people that go through the course of learning and coming out with their certificate. And so that's my take on the democratization of the AI's resources and tools we have in this.
I think it's very good. It helps everybody, and everybody goes from that. But at the end of the day, we also need to realize that some people need to eat. I mean, come on, boys need to eat. But also, it's good for designers to use these tools to help the people who do not have access to design. I'm all for helping people who do not have access to good design.
What's when
As much as yes, I'm helping them, boys need to eat. So it's important for you to also have get some compensation for that. But also it's very, very good because you can help Auntie Mimi get her social media set up as quickly as possible, where she doesn't always have to come back to you to, can you do this for me? Can you change this for me? Just send her a video telling her this is how it's done, this is how it's done. She can go to Canva herself and then make the changes herself. And it's yes, everybody can become a designer, but until then, it's in the house of the Lord.
So I was talking about the professional designer, blah blah blah. So I want to ask, do you think there are any ethical considerations when it comes to everyone being a designer?
Design ethics.
Yeah.
One of the things that scares a lot of people. But I also think that you need to always apply ethics when it comes to design. For instance, jumping onto a platform like FreePick and then borrowing resources and then putting them into your design and calling it yours without attributing the person who designed it. I think that raises a question of how ethical that practice is. So speaking to the fact that everybody being a designer, some people go to FreePick, they don't know the copyright laws, the terms and conditions, they don't know all of these things. So they just basically pick up something and then come and design it and then start using it anywhere and everywhere. I've noticed, so there's this church that I used to work with, I'm not going to mention that, but the designer went to pick something from a design resource site and then forgot to take off the watermark, and it was blasted everywhere. And I had to come in and then tell them that, there's this watermark in the image, they should watch it. So they had to recall some of the things. And I mean, they didn't notice it, but someone somewhere, someone who might have designed that particular asset would have seen it. And if, God forbid, they take them to court and then charge them a bunch of money, probably the asset is not even up to $100, but they'll charge them a bunch of money because of that. So we need to, educate people on the ethical applications of certain design assets, or going onto platforms and then just taking things and then applying them. I also think when it comes to AI stuff like this, for instance, it's a shaky table, honestly. It's a very shaky table because most of these AI tools have been trained on actual people's works. And I think there was a time where there was this conversation going around, people complaining that their art is being replicated and people are posting them as theirs on social media. And that also flags a lot of ethic problems. But I don't know.
I don't think it's a big conversation. You are mentioning things like images on FreePick, where at least you need to give attributes. That's even probably. I can say we could consider it a little bit. What about people using Canva who probably I want to do a poster for my social media page and I'm an interior designer, haven't started anything yet, but I want to start telling people that these are the kind of things I can do. And all they do is to go on Pinterest, see a beautiful design and slap it down their way.
Yeah, that's so that is the end.
There's extreme. Yes, they are so extreme. They're really extreme to these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that takes us back to being design being democratized, right? And because yes, you at least know, even if for worst case scenario, let me take a picture from FreePick or maybe Pixar or something like that. And for worst case scenario, but these people have no idea what it is. They feel like once it's online, I can use it.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think we've had a lot of people, I don't think designers have been forthcoming with our works. Like, we see things out there, okay, if we start seeing people for...
So I think that's, so there's a book called Learn to Steal Like an Artist. And I think it talks about being able to borrow ideas. And I think people talk about the fact that ideas, there's a tree saying, there's an adage that says that something like that. Something like that, my tree sucks, don't sue me. But it talks about these ideas being in everybody's head. And someone has told me that ideas are spirits. You might have an idea right now, and someone is somewhere doing exactly the same thing. So yes, you might do a design, it might look like someone's design. Ethic problems, we don't know. But you need to also have like have a conscience. Come on, can't just go to Pinterest and then pick someone's design. How would you feel? Like, if you do that, how would you feel? Trust me, if someone took your design and then blasted it somewhere that it was theirs, it's wrong. It's really wrong.
I remember there was this woman, we did her stuff for her brand. So before she's a fashion designer.
Mm-hmm.
Before, she was just posting people who work on her page saying she can't do the same thing. And we said, okay, you've done enough. Once you've come, try do some real shoot. She went to do her shoot, came back. And when she came back, she said, can we slap all our logos on every picture? And I'm like, can we go back to where we're using post things? You get it? When you are not in it, right, you don't really get to feel it. Because you don't have your thoughts, your imaginations and everything in it.
I think it's up to designers who are in the field, who know what it takes to execute these things, to educate their clients or educate like the layman. Because sometimes I've had clients who deviate entirely from the guide you give them and then go and pick something from somewhere. And I'm like, where did you find this? No, like, come, tell me, where did you find this thing? And I'm like, do you know that if the person who did this finds it and then sues you, business will collapse. But I keep saying it's up to us to educate these people, tell them that this is wrong. This is what you can do. If you take an image from, say, Shutterstock, or take an image from FreePic, or take an image from Google somewhere and then paste it on it, at least try and attribute the person, credit the person, and then tell them that, and maybe in the comments somewhere, and then say, this image was gotten from this person or that person. You might think that, the person is in Europe somewhere or in like some remote area somewhere, so they wouldn't know. But it will hunt your dreams. Hunt your dreams.
It would be fair to say that, you see, with professional designers, they are informed on these things. But those, like the people that do it as hobbies and stuff, they don't really have so much knowledge in like the ethic.
I think I agree with you, and that is where there's so when you go online and you're trying to download something, there's a commercial and then personal use. So like for instance, typefaces, for instance, if you're going to download them, they have personal and they have commercial. So you need to know what is for personal or commercial. You can't take something that is meant for personal and then sell it to someone. And that is where the problem of ethics comes into play. Because like you are cheating the system, and cheating the system for too long will bite you in the ass.
So like even with commercial and personal, I know we are all guilty of of that. Even we being professional are guilty of that. So but anyway.
The worst case scenario. It is. As they're talking about people who like our tools. Our tools. Yeah, sure.
Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. We cracking creative suites. I don't make that hearing this, please reduce your price. But I think it's good. I mean, there are free tools that are similar to the Adobe tools. For instance, there's an online version of Photoshop that you can use. Figma is free to use. There's a free version if you want to. If you want to go pro, you can go and apply for the paid version, but the free version is also very good. So yeah, if you have money, pay for it. If you don't have money, look for the free versions.
The world is like a place of design is embodying design. And can you cite situations where you've applied design in your everyday life?
Yeah, I apply. I'll definitely understand those tools and apply them. But there's this woman who sells in Ghana. There's what we call kusianimeko. That's boiled with pepper with onions in it, and then people will just carry up on their heads. Nothing fancy. What does one day they see arrange these things on a tray? The holes that are in between the eggs, what she did was to decorate them with the raw pepper. And I think it was 3 colors. They are red, yellow, and then grey.
Mm-hmm.
And she does that in a diagonal form. It's a really beautiful pattern. And honestly, the number of people she caught their attention with that, the number of eggs she's able to sell in a day, just because she was able to do these things. Yeah, I think it was really wow for really wow.
Very, very good. I think, well, someone like that, they don't even know what design principles are, but aesthetics, I think, is embedded in all of us. Talking about creativity, a bunch of people, like, in fact, everybody is creative. We're all born creatives, but the system has beaten it out of us, and now we have to struggle to get it back. So, like, speaking about the Christiane Miracle woman, she's not a designer. She just boils eggs and takes a lot of money from us. But then again, applying like design principles with, like, she didn't know about design principles, but she did it and it caught people's eyes. Hey, what can I say? And also, like, those people who build, like, what I say, masons, those people, what do you call the people who make roofs?
Roof architect.
But yeah, you, like, the designs that they make, the way the roof is corrugated, it's very interesting. I have seen some images online where the both panels are stuck on top of each other, and it forms a really, really interesting pattern. I think it inspired one of my designs. But those people, maybe they don't know that, oh, this is a principle of design where there's balance, and then there's a rhythm, and then there's, rhythm. Sorry, my brain has gone off just a little bit, but it's a thing that maybe they don't know about design principles, but it works. It works for that particular situation, and in that particular situation or that particular context, a design principle has been applied, but maybe they are not aware of it. And it's up to us as designers also to just spice up the world a little bit, you know?
Design is everywhere and everyone can be a part of it. Whether you are creating art or rearranging the furniture, creativity knows no bounds. See you in our next video.